I think Coach Greg Adams pawned the phrase, and he pawns many phrases, but he said, when men are in love, women in business. And you don't want that to be right, but you can see a couple of instances where it seems to be right. It seems to be accurate. And by not just be a couple high profile times when you see this doesn't really make any sense. We'll get into that. We'll give you the examples. When you see women with money and without money, and you see them in line to be baby mama number 7, 6, 5, the man has multiple kids. He has multiple baby mamas, yet you sign up to be the next one. A lot of men have trouble understanding this idea because when you usually ask about it, when you confront it, or you have a chance to have these conversations, what you're confronted with is an emotional reaction, right? I did it for love, or he's actually like X, Y, and Z. He cares about these things. I know more about, he told me these things. And men kind of look at you, and if they're brave, they'll tell you the truth and say, yeah, why'd you even give him a shot? Because you can find men that will listen, that do care, that don't have probably those resources, probably that status. These are things that we see that kind of seem to tell the tale. I get it. From the women that don't have money, sometimes you look at that this is a strategy. And you see it not just on the higher tiers, but in the lower echelons of real life where we sort of exist. You see it happening again and again and again, and you start to wonder, right, this is a business deal. It's a transaction. You have this situation in which the law allows for this to happen, and the law will reward you with income. And not only that, the law will reward you with income based on his salary and his salary and his salary. So there's an incentive for you to have multiple kids with multiple baby daddies. We get that. From a poor point of view, we get it. And getting it is the same thing as condoning it. Getting it is saying, all right, begrudgingly accepting it. But when the situation is he has 6 baby mamas, why be the 7th? If we're looking at, right, from the point of view of when we're down here in the real world, right, when we're this real struggling world, you don't get more of that slice of that pie. It's already divided by 6 by the time you show up. It depends if he has multiple with one, but we're just talking between baby moms. Why do you sign up to be like that? Now I get it. In the lower class world where we live in, you don't really see that. Not really. We get curious when we see someone like Cardi B, who can dip into any one of the worlds that she wants. She can have a super fan, several super fans. I'm sure if Cardi wanted to start her own harem, she would have, she couldn't process all the suitors, all the men that would want to sign up for something like that. But as we know, with Stefan Diggs, you became baby number 5 or 6. Remember, we're tourists in this space, as we don't really focus more on people's lives here on this channel. But we want to use them as an example because it's an obvious thing. We all know it. We all understand it. So it gets us kind of curious. Why sign up for that when you have the resources to not be that? Now when we're looking at, when women are saying that you want to be with someone who makes more than you, okay, check, right? We get that part. That makes sense. That makes sense for some of the other baby mamas and Stefan Diggs that simply decided this is the best option I got. I get that. We see that again and again, but we just get curious when a woman has the resources or his resources. They may be larger, but at what point does it not matter? Like after 100 million, what does it matter, right? That someone has 200 mil or 300 mil. You probably have more money than you can possibly spend appropriately, carefully in your lifetime. So if we take money out the equation, why sign up for that? We'll try to answer that later on. But for now, guys, Subscriber Sundays. I want to thank you guys for actually showing up. As usual, if you guys are in the chat, today will be a nice little different thing because this is going to be pre-recorded, but I should be in the chat with you guys, going back and forth, probably poking fun at me about some things I may have done wrong, said wrong, but it's all in good fun. We're all trying to have a little give back. For those of you that are mothers, happy Mother's Day, right? Everything goes smoothly, and hopefully I got to see my mom today. So shout out to her, shout out to everyone else in the chat that are mothers. And it's not by coincidence that we're not choosing this baby mother thing, but we want to take this point of view for this topic as a more curiosity. We want to understand, and hopefully we have people on this channel that are curious and want to understand some of the thinking. So if you guys are in the chat and do have opinions, please light it up, right? I'm going to be in there right now. I'm not going to do that corny thing where they talk to each other. The presenter talks to the actual video recorded image. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk to myself. I'm just going to hope he's on his best behavior. I can at least entrust Future Easy to do that. So for those of you that are new, of course, so remind me, make sure we remind people to subscribe to the channel. Double tap the screen, like the stream. These are the best ways we can get the word out, that the algorithm sees that this is an active stream, active channel. It pushes the content out, and when it does get pushed out, it tends to do well. So we're hoping for that. Right now, we're sitting at something like 4,100 subscribers, and the goal, right, is 5,000, is 10,000. But we know this is going to be a long process, but we are here for it. We're going to do all the things we can do. Then we're going to do some more. Then we're going to try some more. Then we're going to keep going. That's the name of the game. And again, that's where you can help. All the things I mentioned, double tap the screen, hit the chat. I'm finding that's actually a pretty important one there. But so we try to go do our live streams, Subscriber Sundays, Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. If I've done everything right, this is playing right now. Besides that, housekeeping, membership is open if you want exclusive videos that we're going to be pushing more and more of that out, especially as we complete a full year of doing 2 videos a day, 2 shorts a day, sometimes more. The first video of this channel was about discipline. I think we've done a fantastic job of showing and highlighting what that means and what that looks like for a newbie channel with the barest of platforms. This is how you do it. You know, you get out there, you do it again, and then you do it again, and you keep showing up. Besides that, for those of you who are new here, we've got Love and Money, we've got Crashing Out, then we've got Agree or Disagree, then we got the main topic. So sit back, wine, popcorn. You guys know the deal. For Subscriber Sundays, this is a give back for you guys. And again, the best way is chat. This makes it all worth it. I know this one's going to be a little off base, but I'm going to be in the chat. So chat with me. We'll have fun. Think of it as a movie, get entertained while the producer of the movie and the writer, which wrote the screenplay, is in the audience with you. So again, hope to see you guys in there. First, you know, we got some what we love and money. Again, so like most times, we are trying to do what we can do, make sure it all looks good, make sure it's all kind of nice and perfect for us. But sometimes we make little mistakes here and there. So sometimes, you know, we just have to edit on the fly. But for our first one, we're going to take a look at what's going on over in China. And I know we traditionally look at them as the big bad enemy, but they've got their own drama, right? And drama that we're quite familiar with when it comes down to sugar daddies, right? Billionaire sugar daddy, married with a kid, with a gorgeous wife, with a to each your own, to each your own taste. But broad overview, right? He pays the sugar, you know, he pays the shorty, and then she takes the money and she, you know, handles her own business. There's someone that she's interested in. And can you fault that guy for being upset? Or can you fault her for saying, this is my money? Well, take a look and let's decide.
There's big drama in the world of Chinese baddies. And this story's got everything. An S-tier baddie, her billionaire sugar daddy, his wife, and a male model. What went down? Shushu breaks it down. Meet Hua Sansan, a 26-year-old Douyin baddie. Why is she the absolute GOAT? Her photos are always on point, giving Sims exactly what they're looking for. She's got a signature birthmark that makes her stand out in a sea of baddies. And she perfectly balances internet cute and rich girl aesthetic. Which is why she's not just pulling the simps, she's also pulling the top shelf daddies. In 2019, she was famously proposed to by a Hong Kong fuardai, but that never worked out. Then in 2023 comes her next rich daddy. In her live streams, he climbed up to the coveted Bang Yi Dage status, reportedly spending over $2 million on virtual gifts and even buying her a $2 million Rolls Royce. That sugar daddy is Zhang Yushuai, the richest man in Dongguan. He's chairman of publicly traded company Dongyangwang Jituan and is married and has a kid with famous classical dancer Hua Xiaoyi. So we already have the love triangle: Douyin baddie Hua Sansan, her billionaire sugar daddy, and his famous wife.
Now, all right, let me. What do you think? Right? I think his wife's gorgeous. I think in all those weird TikToks always show me those weird little put together movies where it's like the guy's at office and I guess that this ends up being a worker, but it ends up being the one that actually owns the company. And those weird little TikToks, this is the type of drama they seem to like generate. And you know, I think she looks absolutely stunning, better than the one that you're actually paying money to. Listen, this is me. I'll be in the chat and probably be saying the same thing in the chat. I think he's a little backwards over this, but let's continue.
And somehow they made it all work out. The three of them have reportedly even gone on trips together on daddy's private jet. But just this week, everything blew up. Hua Sansan was caught taking a male influencer out to dinner and allegedly spending over $200,000 in gifts on him. She was taking her sugar daddy's money, turning around, and being the sugar mommy for a hot male model. That's some trickle-down sugarnomics. And you already know her sugar daddy ain't about that. He filed a lawsuit in Dongguan courts to try to recoup all the gifts he ever sent. What's his argument? Those gifts were given on condition of exclusivity in the relationship. Which is interesting, because weren't you married this whole time? So, who's in the wrong here? The married man who spent money on an internet baddie and wanted her to be exclusive? Or the internet baddie who took the money and went shopping for herself?
Yeah, I see his point of view. I've seen his point of view, and they did a follow up. This creator did a follow up about it, and yeah, no, he's like billionaire US, but like 20 billion US. Like that's how much he's worth, and he's going after like I think 4 million from her. But I think over there it's about status, it's about face, it's about saying, hey, I've got a good deal on this apartment, and then finding out that someone else is staying there for free, and then finding out someone else is being paid to stay in that place altogether. So in that respect, it's about losing, it's about saving face, and you kind of look like a fool. So I think it's interesting that you're paying someone enough where you don't understand that exclusivity, unless you got that written out. Like you can you be exclusive with a sugar baby? Can you? Better question. Probably more relatable question over here. Sometimes you see a lot of guys get really defensive. They've got a whole life at home, and then they've got a side chick, and then they get mad when other people try to step to the side chick. But can you do that? Can you say that? Is that fair? Can you defend that like that's actually your wife? If that's the case, why not just stick with the wife? But I think it's interesting that it doesn't really matter sometimes where you go. Right? There's a shift happening globally in terms of dating, in terms of how we look at things now. And China does a very good job of trying to eliminate certain aspects of behavior from their culture by strategically just banning it. What they recently banned, you can't be a monetary or a money influencer, a finance guru over there when you have no finances. You need that before you can attach the guru, before you can start selling courses and telling people, this is how you get this money. This is what you're supposed to do. If you don't have the ability to do that, you don't actually get to do it. But it's China. They also go a little far with social currency and credit scores and using that to dictate where you can. But it's the point is it's interesting. Sometimes when we make the comparison, we look at the Western world. Well, if there's a West, we're comparing it with the East, and that's the East. So things that we say that we tend to like, the values we expose here, we tend to be a lot more liberal, a lot more futuristic with our thinking. Over there, sometimes things are a little bit more archaic, especially in the Middle East. But Like China is very, sometimes they're very blunt on what they're looking for between each other. One thing that I did read recently is the way that men and women interact. That if we're gonna let's just roll with the idea, right? Before you get upset, right? Let's just roll with the idea that sometimes women's desires or their standards are delusional. It's a revolutionary concept. I know it sounds crazy. Don't get upset, but just saying it's delusional. So what happens, or why is it delusional? Because they're allowed to set their price because men are going to pay it. Well, at a certain tipping point, the price gets too high, and men no longer can afford to make it happen. So the buyers start dropping out the market, and that should cause, the bubble to burst. Some of the air gets let out. Well, in China, men in mass stopped acquiescing to those standards. You have to do this, you have to do this, and they blew out some of their own standards about you have to have a house, you have to buy me a house, you have to buy me a car, then you have to have this as a dowry. So they were just like, no. I'm sometimes in some areas they're very blunt, they're very much more to the point, rather than fake the funk. Just like, no, that's not realistic, it's not possible. And then you have that moment of time where you're staring at each other across the negotiation table, and you're like, who's going to give him first? Well, the men didn't give. So a lot of those standards of women sort of disappeared, and they let some air out. They're still not, they're not gone. But that's a good way of looking. Is that some solution, or is that because we have to find some sort of equilibrium over here? We can't keep trying to do things the way we've been doing things and think we're going to get anywhere. But listen, that's food for thought, right? It's nice to know sometimes that when you're struggling, a bunch of other people are also struggling. So listen, next one, very simple idea, using dating apps to, increase your odds of finding love. This is love and money. But like most things, there's always, when you find a way to make something happen, there's always going to be an instance for people to come and say, hey, I got a great way to take advantage of this. And sometimes it's, I don't want to pretend and call it that this is, innocuous, but I'd rather you separate me from my money than my life. Any day of the week. I think most people are going to make that trade, even if it's large sums of money, but maybe not if it's a couple billion. But that's not our lot in life. That's not the thing that we have to sit here and actually worry about. So Tinder, dating apps, they're great ways for, people who are looking to do nefarious things to, do nefarious things. Tinder gives you access to similar people. And we are well versed in telling the other party what they want to know, what they want to hear in order to entice them. Many men have been led down the wrong path because this beautiful, 15 out of 10 is somehow interested in you, and she's just nearby, and she's willing to meet tonight, and she's willing to talk all that naughty, spicy stuff to you, so you can't think straight. You would hope you've thought straight, but by then it's probably a little late for all that. Let's go.
As Mia Ventura, her real name is Adava Lavi. She is accused of using dating apps to burglarize homes, stealing from the people that she met online. Prosecutors allege that she would pose as a girlfriend and travel companion as she cultivated relationships with wealthy older men and younger women. In one case, she's accused of a Abaya podcast host of disappearing mid-show to essentially raid women's purses in the green room, pocketing cash and credit cards. That host spoke to us when Lavi was still on the run, saying that he assumes a lot of victims simply won't come forward.
Just say you work at a law firm or you've been married for 10 years. What were you doing dealing with this Playboy model in the first place? Stop paying women for their time in any capacity whatsoever. Go out with a woman who actually wants to go out with you, not because of how much money you have.
Well, if convicted on all counts, Lavi faces nearly 12 years in state prison. Lavi is currently not in custody, but is wearing an ankle monitor and has been ordered to stay away from her alleged victims. She is due in court April 6th. Live here in studio, Mark Cotarobulos, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Giovanna David, back to you.
Is this a scenario where game is game? I don't. It's rough when the market is so open And you can tell people, right? Remember, she cheated wealthy men and younger women. It's not difficult to tell people what they want to hear and sell them a story. And sometimes the difference ends up being generational. You saw, I never highlighted on this channel, but the people, some woman, some guy was pretending to be, you know, Brad Pitt. And he scammed this old elder woman out of like hundreds of thousands. And the Photoshop was so bad but she didn't know. She's Gen X. Didn't know anything about this. She thought it really was Brad Pitt stuck somewhere and in a hospital bed needing her help and smiling out of place and not in the right color and texture. She believed it. Now you see a lot of these stories, especially with this older generation, when it's a quick little story of like, it's an attempt to monkey branch. But if it's Brad Pitt, can you blame her? So what? She's 70 years old. She thinks Brad Pitt is into her. She's going to leave her old curmudgeon dude and go with Brad Pitt. Now, I'm not saying there's not some mental issues, health issues, dementia going on there, but a lot of these people, they're ready to go off the idea. So selling people a dream is probably the cheapest thing for you to do. Now, this woman where she's like, I'm going to leave early and I'm going to go through all your stuff, all people's stuff and take credit cards and stuff. That's a different level. It's despicable. I hope that, you know, she does actually face a lot of time, because that's usually the only way you can get some of these people to curb that behavior and that other people looking to partake in that. But of course, listen, this isn't the worst case scenario. You see a lot of this happen, especially when people go overseas, when they go to Colombia, when they go to Dominican Republic, when they go to Mexico. You get drugged because you're out there not thinking properly. You're thinking more with, well, your dick, right? That's what's more important to you. That's the more important thing to you. So you end up caught up in a bad way. You're out there by yourself, hands down, drugged, and sometimes they don't find you for days. Right? And you that's it. Recently, I saw there was a video of I think a Jewish man in Itaguay, I think in Colombia, and he went there after he broke up with, after I think he got a divorce. After he got a divorce, he went there to find his new wife. He was there for 3 days, invited a woman back to his place, and they found him like 4 days later. That's not an uncommon story of plenty of people getting drugged because they're thinking you're bigger than a program. This can't happen to me. But in reality, all it takes you to slip, all it takes you to give that nod, like, oh, it'll be fine. And listen, and some of you were not born and raised in New York. You don't have the street smarts. You don't have that ability at all. You're just not savvy like that. It's not a dig. It's not a dig. You just, you know, weren't born and raised in the best city on the planet. We all have our faults, right? We all have our faults. But speaking of fault, diamonds, right? We know the story right now when it comes down to diamonds. We know, men, women, we know the price is inflated. We know there's a whole market, there's a whole rap. You know, Big Diamond wants you to overspend, and then there's a whole push when it comes down to you having to spend, you know, this has to be 6 months, this has to be a year's worth of salary. You see some ridiculous overinflated numbers just for a piece of jewelry, a rock that we said, it looks pretty, I'll give you that. But let's artificially create a demand for it, so then we can charge people more money for it. That's essentially the racket. So what happens when you say, oh, this is a $30,000 rock that's sitting on a shelf, and my girl would love that. Would absolutely love that. I'd be the talk of the town. And then there's a moissanite, there's a lab-grown diamond right there. Looks the same, lusters the same, shines the same. Just $5,000 though. For those of you thinking, right, especially in your younger years, when you're trying to make things happen, you're trying to put your shit together. You're trying to get your money right. You're trying to find a, you know, you got the love of your life right here, and you say, well, we're going to do this damn thing together. This is all I needed. I love you. Boom, boom, boom. Down on one knee, propose. It's all great until she finds out it's lab grown. So this goes back to the question we posed earlier. What is it now? Is it a perception that That matters because before you've known it was lab grown, you loved it. But now that you're aware of it and you know that there was a cheaper price on it, now it's somehow worse. Is it a perception? Is it that this isn't what you thought it was? Forget about the idea of what the ring is supposed to signify. We done left that. What I want to highlight here is how well we've all been brainwashed to think about this thing in this way. That if I give you an equivalent, or I've given an equivalent alternative, equivalent in just that we made it, it looks the same, it does all the same things that rock does. It's just not sourced by people who are living in abject poverty or nearly enslaved. It just doesn't have that flavor of it. It doesn't have that, it's not that soaked in blood, that type of thing. But somehow, because it's a lesser spend, it's less important. When you consider how many lab-grown things that people are willing to eat, willing to put in their bodies, why is that such a turnoff to some women? And I'm saying some, right? I'm not putting this on every one of you. But as I'm saying that, let's see.
Honey, what kind of rings do you like? Oh my God, diamonds, of course. I want a big fat rock. I want to get you the most beautiful ring. Don't worry, the proposal will be a surprise. Who, really? All right, so she wants a big fat rock that's a diamond, and then what happens? You go out and you purchase, but it's a lab-created diamond, correct?
Correct.
And let me see the diamond. My understanding is that a lot of people are doing that these days.
Your Honor, I didn't even know that lab-created diamonds existed until after the proposal.
I don't imagine that you're going to dump them because it's not an expensive enough ring.
Correct, Your Honor, and it was never about the price. It's about how I felt, and I felt super betrayed when he basically omitted the fact that it was a lab-created diamond.
No, I spent $5,000 on this ring.
It's not about the price.
You each split the cost of the engagement party. That's actually what you're suing for here today.
Correct, yes.
And when you're at the...
Now look, I know you're upset, right? You're upset, but suing for the cost of an engagement party, that's one of those things you got to chalk it up to the game. That's the L, right? I know you don't want to hear that. I get it. No. That's the last thing you want to hear in that situation. Like, damn, this thing is over. She found out it's a moissanite, it's lab grown, and this whole thing is over. The way you should look at it, right? And this is for most men. Sometimes in life, you're going to have an opportunity where someone is going to do you a favor. I mean, they're going to do you a favor by telling you, they're going to tell on themselves. They're going to tell you exactly the type of person they are. They're going to give away the game. And all you can do right at that point is think about, you just saved me money. You saved me time, money, because what it would have cost for me to find this out may have taken years. May have taken legitimate years for me to get to that point to understand just what this cost was. You just saved me time. If I paid $5,000 plus the $2,500 for the, the wedding, not the wedding, the party. Cool. That was the cost for me to find out who you were. Take it. The amount of money, you'll get to the point in life where you stop worrying about, you do the things right, you're on the right path. And I think you going and getting a ring like this versus going into debt to put a ring on a finger of someone that turned out to be ungrateful. You saved yourself time, a lot of time, a lot of heartache. You just had to eat that cost right now. Take it, right? And that's easy to say now in this position, but trust me, sometimes you got to pay the price to find out who people are.
Engagement party, what happens?
So at the beginning of the party, it was great. Friends and family were there. Everyone was having a good time. But then about halfway through, I started chatting with my cousin Gina, who I've been super close with. She mentioned to me, she was like, hey, I know how much Bodhi makes a year, roughly. Like, how is he affording a ring that is that size? And
now, women, you guys know that some of your friends aren't your friends. This is pocket watching. She's pocket watching, and she's like, I know he's broke because I've been staring at you guys in your entire relationship. I know he shouldn't be able to afford a ring that looks like this. It's got to be fake. I don't think your cousin actually cares about whether or not it's fake or not. She cared about ruining your party, ruining whatever you had here. I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to make a move on him if the situation allowed. Some of your friends are not your friends. Some of your friends are your competitors, but you guys don't have the same lane as men do to flat out compete with someone. So you do it like underhandedly, and sometimes that I think that sometimes that hurts a little more.
That big. The ring is gorgeous, and by the way, I was obsessed with the ring.
In your mind, you have a rock the size of Gibraltar on your finger, with a guy who you know how much he makes, and it never occurs to you to wonder how he afforded it. If he's putting you in hock for the rest of your lives over it, if he has loan sharks, nothing occurs to you because you don't have to think about things because you're pretty. And Gina's not that nice, okay? Because Gina shouldn't be bringing this garbage up at your engagement party. You take it somewhere and they tell you, no, this is lab created. And then what?
Correct. And I'm crushed. Honestly, like, I'm hurt. I'm devastated.
You put a tremendous amount of pressure on someone whose income you know. I want a huge rock, like you're marrying a Rockefeller. Like, maybe you shouldn't have said that.
But we could have talked about...
You could have talked about it, but instead you dumped him, right?
Sure, but he wasn't interested in doing a blood diamond anyway.
When you decide who you want...
I don't know if it was a cut, right? And this is not my video. I didn't cut it. I'm not responsible for that take. But the way she just said that, like he wasn't interested in doing a blood diamond, like that was an option for you. Listen, I'm gonna say that quiet part that we don't want to say, or we tend to not say. Stop making the idea like a white woman is not going to have her own issues with you. Like interracial, I'm just going to find a white woman and tell me gravy. Nah, nah. Don't do that. Don't do that. Same way, other way applies just the same. You get, with a white man and think all my problems are solved. No, absolutely not. No. Even if you want to say there's a different flavor, there's a different cultural flavor, same recipe, right? Different ingredients, but you get the same thing. Right? You're gonna have problems there and you're gonna have problems over here. It's just one of scope. She's letting you know right now, this is exactly who I am. You could have done these things. I would a blood diamond. Are you not familiar? You didn't see his skin color? But making those connections might be a little too much, right? That might hurt a little bit more.
Spend your life with, this shouldn't be the be all and end all of it, okay? Because you spent 3 years with the guy. If you spent 3 years with the guy, did he ever cheat on you, fool you, lie to you, anything? No. If this is what you consider a lie just because the topic doesn't come up, apparently he doesn't know you very well either. Should have known that you were much more materialistic. All right, now after having discussed all that, let's discuss the legal issue that is in front of me. If at the time that you spent the money, it was not a loan, it doesn't magically become a loan now. If at the time that you spent the money, you spent it willingly, it doesn't magically become a debt that she owes you now. I realize what your argument is. Yeah, but then she dumped me. So what? That's life. We don't turn around and change the terms of your agreement on the engagement party because you're disappointed. Verdict for the defendant.
If he would have put a real diamond on it, we would still be together.
You are selfish and materialistic, and you're never going to find anyone who is willing to go as far as I was for you.
Yeah, brother, man. You need more friends you left that would have told you, yeah, don't even waste your time trying to go to court and make this thing public. That was the easy way for you to waste your money, right? Or waste your time. You're never going to be awarded that money. You had a party, you paid your part in it, and she said no. She dumped you. Yeah, chalk it. Again, just chalk it. Same thing with the ring, chalk it. And this time, to go forward and check these things. And I'm sure, like most of us are probably thinking, this wasn't the first time she's been materialistic. You just thought it was all right. You thought it was fine. Or it was ways when you were so in love with her that you just kind of ignored it. You kind of moved on. Oh, she's like, no, okay, so fine, it's fine. No, it's not. In the very beginning, when you saw signs of this, you need to either address it, check it, or just leave. If you don't, you know what happens. You end up crashing out.
I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'ma crash out. Got 100K on my wrist and my...
All right. Listen, I never know why I'm so excited about the crashing out section, but I'm usually excited about the crashing out section, right? And I know I look for new clips for our game show, but you seen as we weren't live. I think I'll save that for another time. But what I found did not disappoint. It did not disappoint in some wild ways. Love and it's wild. A lot of you are we'll keep it funny and then we'll get real serious real quickly, real soon. And one of these cases, one of these things, I'm surprised we didn't hear about in our larger society. But so, as we mentioned before, if you are, married, you got your little side piece, you understand the danger of that, right? I'm saying the danger is as in the bribery angle. Like we had, 2 or 3 lives ago when the girlfriend was taking pictures of her boyfriend's penis when it was soft, like 900 pictures of it. There's bribery available. The sheer fact that you have your wife at home and you have this side chick, her mere existence is bribery. She can bribe you with that alone. But, and when we look at who is a better side, who plays the side better, and undoubtedly, I think it goes to men because men typically don't want more than what you're already providing. Well, women can. They can try to advance and say, no, I want more, and I've got the perfect leverage, the fact that I actually exist.
My younger sneaky link and I enjoy watching and recreating porn. Our last date, she revealed that she loves me and wants to take our relationship to the next level.
Okay.
I was stumped. She said, I want you to publicly claim me as your woman, and if you can't do that, I'm gonna show your wife our homegrown movies. Bro, I agreed, but I also knew this was the last time I'd see her. While she was on top, I told her, I'm gonna miss you. She snapped and choked me so hard. I was fearful, but there was hope in her eyes. I stopped fighting and pretended to be dead. She said, I'm sick of ending you niggas. She stole my money, my phone, and she left. She didn't end me, but did she end others? Should I tell the cops? But I don't want my wife to find out.
Oh my God. I'm gonna miss you.
Miss you, boy.
You call the cops. Call the cops, because when you turn around and you're alive, you've got issues, right? There will be issues. And listen, ladies. We know we like to pretend all the time. We when women say they're the ones with the best emotional regulation, we gotta understand. No, right? I think no. I think it's no. I think there's test cases. But I don't think so, because once it becomes matters of the heart, all things become fair. All things are on the table. If you're upset, we saw the what we have last week, the woman throwing dynamite, right, at her boyfriend, dynamite. But this is smooth emotional regulation. So in it for the example, for the next one, it's. You find out your fiance is cheating. What's your move, right? And hopefully we're in a chat. We're all in speed. We're all talking about this at the same time. What's your move? You find out your fiance is cheating. You leave. Everything else called off. Any plans? You get rid of them. That makes sense, right? I think that's the only thing that makes sense. That's what you're supposed to do. You don't impersonate a cartel and get your fiance to go kill a bunch of people. I'm sure no one guessed that in the chat, that's what you were supposed to do. I know I guessed it in the chat, but you're not supposed to do that. That's not the move until it is. And listen, I looked it up. This is a real case.
A woman discovered that her fiancé was cheating, so she spent an entire year pretending to be the Mexican cartel, convincing him through fake messages that his mistress was a mole who needed to be eliminated. He murdered an entire family, believing that he was carrying out a cartel hit. So in 2023, a 32-year-old security guard is sleeping with a co-worker. Both are in a relationship. She has a husband and he has a fiancé. And when the 50-year fiancé discovers the affair, she doesn't confront him. Instead, she does something far more twisted. Using fake phone numbers and social media accounts, she starts messaging him pretending to be members of a Mexican cartel. And for an entire year, she builds this elaborate fiction where her fiancé genuinely believes that he's been recruited into a criminal organization.
So now we got questions. right? We're not even into the story, but we got real questions. At what point do you think, yeah, this makes sense? How adjacent to the cartel are you that you would believe you randomly getting texts from the cartel? I'm not knocking people's lives. I'm just saying, is that a thing? With as much spam as you get, and I'm telling you, every single day, I got a call about a loan that, you know, I should be processing, or a loan that I looked into something. It doesn't matter how many registries that I sign up for and say, yo, do not call. No, I get them every single day. Not once do I think any of them are real. I got something from the cartel. I'm thinking it's the same thing. I'm sure some of you got those text messages where it's like someone's mid-conversation. Oh, we had a great dinner last night. What are you doing today? And, you know, you look at this and you're like, no. I mean, if my sister's in the chat, she knows I know what she'll say. Her response is always, you know, send nudes, right? And I say that and the conversation tends to go left. And that's a good distractor. Like, hey, blah, blah, yeah, send nudes. Oh, we had a great dinner last night. Send nudes. Yeah, they don't hear that. But I've never had the cartel thing come up. I mean, I'm just boring.
Messages get darker and darker over time. The cartel questions his loyalty and says that he's under constant surveillance. Then, 2 days before the murders, she sends him a message as the cartel saying the mistress is a mole planning to attack him. Playing both puppet master and cartel boss, she helps him plan the hit. And they discuss everyone in the household. The mistress, her husband, their 2 children, even how many dogs they have. And she tells him to make it look like a burglary and reassures him that many murders go unsolved. September 16th at 3:17 a.m. She drives him to the home, waits in the car, goes inside with a handgun and shoots the entire family. The woman, the husband, their 9-year-old son, the 7-year-old son, and even the 3 dogs. 20 shots in total. The police find their bodies the next day while doing a welfare check, and body cam footage shows officers discovering the horror. Overturned furniture, dead dogs, an entire family murdered. Both suspects are questioned separately, and they deny everything and then flee to Oklahoma. Cops spot them shopping together at a Walmart, and surveillance footage shows their fiancé smiling as they leave the store. But the police are waiting in the parking lot, and a chase ends in a fiery crash on the interstate. Before officers can reach them, the man shoots the woman and then himself. But here's the very devastating part. Investigators believe he likely never knew that his fiancée was behind the fake cartel messages. Even as he died, he probably thought that he was a cartel operative who'd been caught. She'd manipulated him so completely that he murdered 4 innocent people, including 2 little boys, believing that he was saving his own life. All because a woman couldn't handle her fiancé cheating on her.
How wild is that? How wild is that? In terms of crash out, I don't think we've had anything that crashed out just as bad as that. This is if we were taking a rolling tally, this is the worst thing we've seen so far. Right there. This is insane. That you, again, were that connected or that close to the cartel where you believed this. That you said, okay, he's cheating on. I mean, even the ending, the way it went out like that, I don't think there could have been a better way for this to end. But you wiped out entire family and the dogs because your fear of the cartel, and she put you up this because the fear of losing you. Because it sounded like she had no indication that she was actually wanted to break up with him, that she wanted to get rid of. Like, no, she wanted to get rid of the competition. This is awful. This is awful. And it's always easier just to leave. It's always easier just to say, yo, I'm good. Congratulations. You know, may the best woman win. You got your whole family. Let me go tell him. And you guys do what you got to do. This is difficult. It's difficult. But in terms of just sheer aggressiveness, I think we got another one. We got another one topped. And this sparks a tangential question that, when we're talking about, like in the beginning monologue, where we talked about you having kids with a man, and then later on in life, and those people that don't do the multiples, but you have a kid and it comes down to dating. One thing we hear so much as men is that your kids come first. That there's no scenario in which your kids do not come first. Now, I'm not someone that wants to come in and say, well, no, I have to come before your kid because I don't think that's like biologically possible. I don't. And even if you, for those that have dated women, you know, with kids, when they kind of ignore the kids to be with you, that also feels weird. It feels wrong. But we have to understand that we're both coming to this. We should come to this with some grace and understanding if you're going to go this route. When you aggressively say you don't need, like, you know, my kids come first, that's it. Why would a man want to sign up for that? And I know it seems like I'm talking in circles here. I'm not making sense. But when you see the level of intensity of the conversation, when you have to say, listen, my kids are a top priority for me. But that's not to say that you can't be as well. It's just the same way as, you know, the love you have for your best friend as a guy is not the same love you have for your wife, your girlfriend, fiance. It's different. It's intense. They both can take priority, but we understand when it comes down to you have to save one, we understand you're going to save your child. You have to understand that when men have to make that calculation in the very beginning of whether or not to deal with you, they also are going to have to be okay with that, not being in that position. If that means they hold back a bit of themselves because they know if this goes left, what happens? If that means they say, cool, understand that I'm really not going to financially kick up and take care of this child outright. The child already has a father, someone that you both agree or probably have the same stance that we would die for this child. You understand that I don't also share that. It has to be, there's a give and take. If your child is the most important thing in the world to you, understand it's the most important thing in the world to you, not me. And the tighter and the more you hold on to that, the more you hold on to that stance, the less incentive I have to actually create something long lasting here, or understand that I will never probably feel the same way about your child as you do. And it's just, again, this comes down to a biological thing. But there's ways you can convey this experience, or the ways you can convey this actual messaging. And I'm going to show you a great example how now to do it, a way that just kind of turns everyone off.
Men want kids, and then when you have the kids, you get upset once you are now providing for that kid. And y'all don't know how to separate it, and the problem is men are selfish.
Why would I put you before my children? I can't replace my children. You could get replaced at any fucking time. The only
right there, that point. If I could get replaced at any time, if that's how you treat me, as if I'm just an expendable thing, I can be replaced just like any other appliance or commodity you have there. Why would you expect me to fully buy into this relationship? If at any moment of notice I could be gone, you could just get another one, and you don't feel like the same way, you can't get another kid. Okay, acceptable. Understand why I have not just a foot, but most of my body out the door. Why you never really get the best of me, why I really don't open up to you, because I know I'm replaceable. Because it's not something that you hold in the back of your head. It's the way you move. It's the way you talk. It's the way you treat me. It's even the way you watch me treat your child. If you think at any moment of something, I can get rid of this guy. Why? Where's the incentive to stay? Where's the feeling to stay? How do you foster that? You can't serve two masters in that front. Eventually, we're going to know the truth. Like, hey, I wish you the best. Or when you get excited about stuff your kid has done, I'm not excited with you. Because I understand I'm just here for a temporary time. That's why, and again, these things end up kind of stunting the potential growth of a relationship. Why would I carve out a piece of my home and say, hey, come move you and your kid in, when I don't have priority in that life? You just came under this house, and maybe you have 2 kids, maybe you have 3 kids. I was in charge of this place. It was my rules. The way I moved was with me. When I left something out on a shelf or on a table, it stayed there because I did it. That's a level of control that we like. What we built around us is for us. Now I invite you in, and kids who you put as a higher priority than me. In my house now, I just demoted myself several spots. And you're looking at it like that is the most normal thing. This is not to say that we're here to tell you you should think differently. I'm saying this is an intrinsic thing, that this is how you believe, this is how you feel. Okay, understand you might have to date differently. You might have to date differently. If it comes down to something like that, and you're so fervent, you're so angry about it, cool. Understand we maintain very separate lives. When you're free, you let me know. When I'm free, I'll let you know. But making accommodations to your life, essentially, when you're this aggressive, right? And there's men out there that like this. I'm not one of them. If you like this sort of behavior, kudos to you. I'm not with it. I can't stand it. But it's not to say it's not warranted. If this is how she obviously has a kid. If this is how you're going to be, understand that I would want complete separate lives. I may be interested in you. I can love you, but it's going to be in such a limited capacity. You won't ever really see it, because I need to protect myself, because at any moment's notice, you're ready to kick the can. And the scary truth is, you don't have to be this aggressive as she is to believe and think the same thing. This is also why a lot of men in your life look and say, okay, I know the score, I know the game. You don't have enough love left in there in terms to move me around. You're simply ready at a moment to say, I got to do what's best for my kids. That's going to be the greatest justification you can use for absolutely everything. You see some women, when they get into certain walks of life that are more underhanded, or that are black, or that are night, be a night ballerina, escort, all the names you want to throw into their OnlyFans, the justification is for the kid. The kid is the most important thing. Okay, so you're willing to sell your soul and willing to do everything to protect this child's soul. Everything for that. So we go back to the original monologue, the original point. So why are we not more judicious with the fathers when they already have multiple women? If you want what's best, if the child that comes out of you is so critically important, why not set up the best scenario possible? Now, of course, we're talking about something specific. We're just not, you got with someone, you guys got together and rug swept. Things change, abuse happened. We acknowledge that. We're going to set that aside. We're not trying to belittle that, but it's a separate conversation when you strategically go and plan to be baby mama number 4, baby mama number 5. That's what gets a lot of us kind of curious. I don't really get it, but hopefully by the end we can make some guesses. And again, if you're in the chat right now, let me know what you think. Let me know your ideas. What makes sense to you? And also, someone remind me that make sure I'm asking people to subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, I'm doing that in the chat. Try to be a little more cognizant going forward. But yeah, let's let it continue, because it gets a little bit more aggressive.
Person in the world I can't replace is the ones that came out my pussy.
Hold on.
You go in my pussy and leave.
You said that. Hold on.
Men get raised to breed and not be fathered. Y'all don't get raised to be active parents. Y'all get raised to spread your seed, while we get raised to have the kids and nurture them. It's nobody on this motherfucking planet that's gonna come before my motherfucking child.
I respect what you're saying based on the life that you live, but you can't say that to me. Why? Because I take care of my son home. I take care of my father home. I don't leave my family on stuck. I don't leave my parents on stuck. What you just said applies to some men. Yes, they do, but it don't apply to this man right here. Your response to, can I create another child? Yes, you can. Can you create another father? No, you can't. Can you create another mother? No, you can't. So you gotta make my kids come before my wife in a death situation. My kids gotta go. I have more.
My husband could be replaced. My kids, what, I'm gonna replace him with another one? I already lost one. He can't be replaced. So I'm not jacking it, bro. And I'm not two. Nobody can replace that one. So it triggers me when you say, fuck them kids. It's not fuck them kids.
I think it would trigger everyone. You said, F them kids. I think what triggers men is saying that, no, the kids become the most important thing in a world where men already struggle to feel any type of validation, any type of usefulness outside of what they sort of create. And of course, when you have your own issues with trauma, the way you were raised, the way you saw and believed men were raised, like the second one we're saying, that women were raised to sit there and take care of the children and nurture them. Men are raised to just have sex and move on. Well, when that is your worldview, you're not going to have a 30-second talk and change that person's mind. So, okay, I hear what you're saying. That's been your experience. That's not what we do over here. We take care of our family. And regrettably, that's how you were raised and what you saw, and it became your world. So it's not, the conclusion is natural. You'll raise your kid to do this very same thing. Well, you may not, the world may. When you were saying that the most important thing is going to be the offspring of your children, then why not give them the best shot at actually thriving? But what we see a lot of what happens a lot of times in the low income communities, you have multiple kids. You have more kids than you can actually afford. Way more kids than you can actually afford. But that doesn't stop you from loving them. That doesn't stop you from screaming and professing your love about them, that you'll do anything for them outside of giving them the best shot at a decent life, at a decent outcome. And sometimes that means paying a little more attention to the person that you're sleeping with to have the child and not thinking of them as highly disposable. That's my take on it. Shameless plug, shameless segue, shameless foreshadowing. But of course, you can, agree to disagree. So look, we know the age-old topic, the age-old thing that goes back and forth about breadwinners and leaders and power, and not the award-winning hit TV show. But one of the issues that I think, you can disagree, I think becomes problematic in the Black community is that we equate leadership with income. That a man that makes more money would be a better leader. Or when a woman makes more money, then she now wears the pants. We make, like, the fact that you go out and make money, we make it a masculine thing, and therefore a thing that entitles you to power over someone else. No, you just have a specialized subset of skills that the economy currently rewards. That's it. Right? Or maybe in your company, in your job, you had the wherewithal to go out there and try to make more money. That's it. That doesn't make you a better leader. In fact, for most people, depending on the industry, depending on the job, makes you a better follower. You're great at following directions. You're great at details. You're great at managing and playing your role. Income doesn't make you a leader. It doesn't. It doesn't. But I think sometimes when we are looking at from a place of lack, when you haven't had this in your life, when you haven't had money, then you put it on such a high pedestal and you think that this is the most important thing ever. It's critical. So he who has it makes the rules, or she who has it makes the rules. Well, we're not here to try to break that down and try to say how silly or dumb it is. But when you follow that modality to the end and you're the woman that's the breadwinner, you make more money, then you want to turn around and say, well, this thing doesn't work anymore because you're supposed to be the one leading. Meanwhile, you've got other couples, other races that understand it's your salary, it's your specialized skill. You could be a doctor, you could be a surgeon, you could be an anesthesiologist. I had a friend years ago, he was at the bar and he met an anesthesiologist. And he was already telling me, and this was like their third date. He's like, if this goes right, I'm done. And it went right. He quit. He moved somewhere down south, like maybe in the Carolinas, one of those. Maybe, I can't remember. Farm chickens, right? All that. Started working for like the local PD. Grew out his beard. Happy as shit. She didn't look at him and say, yo, he's not a leader. She just knew, I just make money. I have this skill. I'm an anesthesiologist. they're paying me $300,000-$400,000 a year. He was making 100. He said, the math is simple. I'm gonna go. We're gonna get pregnant. We're gonna get married. Got pregnant. Got a kid. Yeah, still a leader. Income's not it. Yeah, and he's white. Right? And he's white. It's us online having these asinine kind of conversations. I'm saying asinine, but it's not saying that they don't have real world consequence. When you see that finance is one of the reasons that people cite for reasons for divorce, it's sometimes it's undisclosed debt. It's sometimes the person, he's not making enough, he's not contributing enough, or she's not. But it's usually, yeah, maybe you started out earning him. It wasn't a report, it wasn't a study, but they did a survey and like said 50% of women said like they'd give their man 5 months before they filed for divorce. I don't know how many people they surveyed, but this isn't like, you know, what are the marriage vows, right? We understand right now, again, keeping in mind with this topic, keep in mind that it's Mother's Day, that having a kid, while it's hailed as the most important thing, it's done a lot easier, a lot quicker, without as much care as saying like getting married and then having the kid. It's a very curious thing for a lot of men to look and say, you'll give the man a kid, but you wouldn't marry him. Or he wasn't marriage material, but you had his kid. Just the same way, you'd rather be baby mama number what? Rather than like, no, I'll just, you know, make something sense. But I digress a lot. We've still got to talk about if you agree or disagree with this one.
And that is a reality.
So, give me that again. Give me that. I want to make sure I heard you. Say that again. When a woman has more money.
When a woman has more money, the power dynamic is reversed. Whereas she is the one perceived to have more power in the relationship because she is the financial breadwinner. Very often, more often than not, that relationship fails.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to push back on you. I didn't disagree with you on the surface, but I'm going to go a step beneath.
And you too.
Okay.
Calm down, nigga.
Here's what I see as a therapist.
Okay.
Black women who make more than their men sometimes believe because I make more than you, I have a right to emasculate you.
I am not gonna deny that.
Okay.
I've witnessed it.
Okay.
I have actually witnessed it, and I called my girlfriend to the carpet because of it. I said, you should not marry this man if this is how you're gonna continue to treat him. He doesn't deserve it. If you want to have a high earning man because you make more money and whatever, then go find that motherfucker. But if you cannot respect this man, please God, don't marry him, because you are going to set yourself up, you and him, for fucking disaster. So I am not of that mindset. You know what I'm saying?
The other side of that also happens even if the woman doesn't out-earn her mate.
Still feels,
but she has been socialized and conditioned by the women who raised her to never allow a man to take the lead or have the final say. So now you have a situation where the man is declared breadwinner, can handle his business, is responsible, but because of brainwash and social hypnosis from dysfunctional black women, you can't let him be a man in the home, which tears the relationship.
I mean, I find no fault with what he's saying. I think he's out there. I agree with him there. We've been conditioned from a position of fear, right? If we can be real and call it what it is, I think it's exactly that. We categorize every single scenario. Something happens, and you think the worst case scenario is this. How bad can this go? And you move off that. You're at a crossroads, and you can assume the left side, you can assume the right side. You don't have any more information. You just say, this could go left so bad, and since I've been hurt before, I need to protect myself. I need to protect myself and go that way. Then you have people making decisions based upon fear, based upon the fear of this disaster. So now you don't know how to let go of the reins, yet you desire to. You want someone that you can rely on, but you don't know how to be open and let someone help you. You're not capable. It's like you're not built to make the things that you're looking for. You're not built for it. You're not reinforced it. You weren't taught it. You were shown examples again and again and told again and again and again. See, that's why you can't rely on no man. That's why you can't rely on a man. See, that's why men ain't no good. You heard it again and again, and you repeated it. You internalized it. It became exactly who you were. So now you have an opportunity. You're in there, and this is exactly how life works, right? You get in front of the person that you're desirous of. You get in front of this situation that you always wanted, right? Just follow. Then what happens? You're still the person that is incapable of capitalizing on this situation. The opportunity has presented itself, yet you are still not ready because you haven't seen that. We don't push it. We don't show you how to make that happen in Black society. We just tell you how to, you know what, you can't trust these men, so you need to protect yourself. You need to get yours by any means necessary. And especially now when it means you have the resources or you have a child that you can use as justification. I've got to do it to protect myself and my kid. So while you want someone to come in there somehow, navigate through this minefield of trauma that you have and somehow get there in peace, intact with all his limbs, and be willing to say, I'm here for you. I'm going to take care of you, only for that to realize you don't know how to let go. And by let go, it doesn't mean that you don't ask for help. You know how to do that, but it's in the small, minute ways. It's the way you question, the way you nag. And these are things that are built from fear that you have to follow around. You've heard all the things. You've seen it before when women say, hey, can you do this? Can you load the dishwasher? And he does it, and you got to travel behind him because he didn't do it right. You don't know how to let go. So what happens? You end up right in front of that person that's supposed to be your person, quote unquote, right? Your star chart said it. This is your guy. But you're still you. And he requires better from you, better than you, a better you. But these are the things that you can't cheat, that time doesn't allow you to cheat. You don't get to just suddenly snap your fingers, wake up, do some journaling, and you're the best version of you. It's always a work in progress. But if you haven't been making any progress because you haven't been doing any work, this is why you end up exactly with the same type of people that you scream about and you hate and you don't like. You end up being the very demise that you've been fearing. You embody all the things that you hated about your mom. You do the same thing. That same heat and hate you have from your father because he wasn't there, you've pushed your baby daddy the same way. Your child will grow up with that same sort of heat and vitriol. And why wouldn't they? Your mom helped create it in you, helped spur it in you. You're going to help do the same with your kid. We say all the time, detach with love, but it's easier said than done. In this case, you get taught that, okay, you're the breadwinner. Now you run the show. Now you get to say what happens here. I make more money than you, even if it's by $1, even if we're on the same level. Now I'm telling you how things go. Why? That's a complete behavior that you interpreted on your own and decided that makes sense to me. That makes sense. This is how it is. If he makes more money than me, then he gets to say, he gets to tell. That's why he should be listened to, because he makes more money. We look at that, especially in the Black community, and then we parse that even further. And then it's the perception of money. It's a perception. So when you look at these white men, you say, the white man got a Rolls Royce. Who said? Who said? You made the assumption. You give him that benefit of the doubt and think, okay, if I was with this guy, then it'd be better. But remember, you're still who you are. You can't cheat this part of the game. You can't cheat that. The game recognizes the game and knows exactly who you are. So when you're in front of the people that you want to so desperately be like and be with, you lose the opportunity. You waste the opportunity because that's not you. It's never been you. You don't get to play up and suddenly be that. But I agree with what you're saying. We've been socialized incorrectly through fear in a way that bars us from actually enjoying each other to get it along cohesively. And at some point in time, we're going to look and say, we've been trying the same thing over and over again, specifically in Black community. It's not working. At least what we see online. I think the best thing we can do is let go when it comes down to relationships, let go a lot of the stuff you see online and start talking to people in the real world and seeing what works. You're going to see a lot of people not talking about, 50-50. They're like, yeah, of course. There's things that I'm good at, things that I'm better at that I take care of, and vice versa. That's it. That's it. Once you do stuff like that, yeah, he's probably going to pay the majority of the bills. Probably going to pay the majority of the mortgage. But you sitting by and doing nothing while he does everything, why would you not think he was going to turn around and start making his own demands? If you put such a high presence on that, then please understand, when he goes wild and he decides, I'm going to do what I want, well, because you only care about me because I pay these bills. But if I could do that for you, I can do it for another woman. If that's something that matters most to you, how many other women are just like that? I'll slide someone else in. Especially in the back of the mind, thinking the minute she has an opportunity, she makes more money, she's going to do the same thing, or she's going to cut me loose. Again, why would you expect men to build with someone that has such temporary plans for me? That's my take. That's my take. But another thing that men tend to end up dealing with when it comes down to relationships and money, it's who pays for the date. Now, we're on record on the channel saying, I think when men asking women out, they should pay for the date. I'm fine with that. I pay for most things like that, but this is more a upbringing thing and my own decision thing. Is the way I respect time. But if you ask me out, especially for my birthday, you ask me out, why is the expectation that I should be the one paying? How does that work?
Is this what like men go through out here?
Yes.
Like, here's the thing.
Yes, it is. I'm glad you asked.
If I invite a guy out for his birthday and I choose the restaurant, am I paying?
Sorry.
Or is he paying because he's the man? Apparently, I'm cheap for assuming he would. Who's wrong, me or him?
Is that the end?
Yes.
I don't know who you are, Anonymous, but I'm going to let you know. Every single time you're wrong.
Every time.
It's the man's birthday. You invited him out and you picked the restaurant and he should pay on his birthday.
Isn't that crazy? Is this what like men go through out here?
Yes.
Like, here's the thing.
Yes, it is. I'm glad you asked.
That to me is insane.
Is insane.
In no world should a man have to pay on his birthday.
Videos.
Especially if it's your man. Like, huh?
It's like those videos that were circulating a while back of women getting upset because the man won't pay for her and all her friends on her birthday dinner.
Yeah.
The fuck am I paying for your friend? You guys are gonna bust it open for me? And it's not like it's about sex. But what am I paying for your friends for? If it's my birthday and I bring all my boys and you thought it was just me, are you gonna pay for my boys? No. You'd be like, I'm barely paying for you, my nigga, apparently.
At the most, I'm gonna buy the table around the shots.
But
I'm not paying for all your boys' dinner. And I'm only buying the shots if I like everyone.
I didn't buy his shot because I don't like him. I don't know why he's here.
Well, I'm not gonna buy,
Oh, you're not gonna single someone out?
No.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I either like all of them or I'm not. Maybe I like pull one to the side. Let's do a little shot.
Yeah,
that's
Oh, yeah, they're going for a little bit more, but yeah, you get the point. Yeah, if you're inviting me out for my birthday and you're picking a spot and there's still an expectation that I'm supposed to pay, again, if this is how you want to rock things, this is an online like view of the world. Or your taste in women is you got a taste for women that consume too much TikTok, too much Instagram reels, and use that and indoctrinate themselves and say, this is the way I should be. This makes sense to me. No. In reality, a lot of this stuff is a lot more collaborative. A lot of stuff makes sense in order for it to actually make sense. Don't let that go over your head. Listen, it's silly, right? A lot of us need to just back up and realize it took our parents working together, some of our parents working together to make this happen. And if you can't see that, that is a result of the cope that was probably passed down from you being with a single parent, making you think that you can do it by yourself, making you think that other people, you should be entitled to other people's resources simply because you exist. It's a shitty way to exist, it's a shitty way to be, and it's an easy way for you to get used. Because what your level of resource is versus what you're shooting for may be different. Just like it may be you're going from a third world country and exchange your currency for US dollars or the euro. You're going to get taken advantage of because your world, you think this is a lot of money. To them, that's just a passing Tuesday. There's nothing important about it. There's nothing intrinsic about it, but it impresses you. Impresses you right out your pants. And we don't want to see that unless that's your goal, right? You know, unless that's your goal. Hey, please enjoy that. For the rest of us, you know what it is. Shameless plug forward. So make sure that we talk about it. All right. Last segment, right? Main event. But again, we're going to remind people to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, or double tap your screen. Hopefully you guys are with me in the chat. We're going back and forth, having a good time. That was the whole purpose of trying to get this up rather than just saying, I'll see you guys next week. So hope you guys are finding wisdom or some sort of nuance in this, and we can have those conversations. That's what this is all about. And I'm really, as I'm running this, I really do like when I have the interaction. It gives it a certain vibrancy. Right? It gives a certain vibrancy. So hopefully we'll be able to do a full one next week. And also, yeah, Money Mondays. If I have time, I'll definitely set that up. But I just want to shamelessly plug those things. In fact, yeah, there might be a couple of things that I have in mind I want to talk about already. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys there. I'll try to do that in varying times as we do more and more tests. But right now, right, what we're talking about here, it's the getting with a man that has multiple kids, multiple baby moms. Some of us think about you having a child as it being important, it being a critical thing, it being a life-changing event. Because when you consider it, like an insurance, there's not many things they consider like life-changing events, life-qualifying life events. The real thing, look it up. So when you have a child and it doesn't seem like it's the most critical thing for you because you're having it with someone who's already had 9, 10 of them. Why him? Right? And now this is the speculation part of the evening, part of the show. And the first one, I think, is the obvious thing. It comes down to status. It comes down to wealth. I think sometimes the status that you'll be, associated with this person, then maybe it comes wealth that you'll be able to be provided a life tangentially through that man that's supposed to enrich yours. Does that make sense? Let's just, let's see, and then we can extrapolate a little bit more.
Would you date a man with kids?
So usually it's no, depending on the circumstances of what they have with their mother of the child.
Right.
My ex unfortunately had 4 children with 4 baby mamas, but
hold on.
We made up with that because he's a ball player.
There we go. So let's all this universal mental intelligence and all this high level thinking.
I know.
You with a with 4 baby mom, 4 kids because he's a ball player.
I fell in love with him though.
I bet you did.
But it wasn't about him being about. Like,
what was it about?
There was a lot of deeper conversations.
Okay.
He was very, very good about my brother.
Okay.
He come visit my brother. He wanted to ask if Kyler needs anything.
Yeah.
Like he's an advocate for Special Olympics, so
Okay.
people who are have disabilities. There was a lot of connection.
They're legendary humans.
So as far as I know it's dumb.
How long was you with him? How long was you with him?
Almost a year. Almost.
So what we'd ask, right? What we'd ask is, how does he get a chance to learn all these things about you? How does he get a chance to learn that your brother has special needs? You gave him a chance because of his status. The baby mamas thing became just like, you can't tell us it's critically important for some man that you were with for a year. He didn't suddenly have 4 baby mamas. No. You probably went into that already understanding that, but his status was enough to erase that. Perhaps there was a hope that you would somehow be different, or your relationship with him would be different. You're the one that survived. You're the one that made it. But we understand when they talk about body count, they talk about your history. They talk about your history because it's one of the clearest indicators of what your future is going to be. How many of you have actually done the work to change who you are? Most of us have not. To fundamentally 180 degrees change who you are. Most of us don't have those times, those qualifying life events to make those happen. You don't suddenly just decide, no. There may be traits or habits you develop, ways of thinking that you adopt. But by and by, you just don't start being a completely new person. So you're dating a man with 4 baby mamas, you're probably going to be the 5th. You stay around long enough, you're probably going to be 5th. Just the same way we talk about your friends around you end up being a reflection of the type of person you would probably be. That's why you cultivate your circle constantly. Men, I always recommend about every 6 months, you cultivate and see whose fires are you pissing on, vice versa. But you're willing to forgive all these things. You're willing to have deep conversations with him because of his status. So that's going to be something that you could flat out trumps the amount of kids you have. And we see an example of that future. Again, we're tourists in the space. We don't keep the current tally, but anyone messing with future now does so with full understanding. This is what he does. So you can't cry foul. You can't come back and say, well, you know what? It is what it is. That was a come up. We get that. We get that unsaucy part of the game where you're using this just because a baby by future is better than one of you bums. I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. And even what I could get, and if you did your research, you'd find that these women are not getting completely paid out. I'd rather have that than deal with one of you guys bumps. And at the very least, it's still future. It's still better. It's way better than you. That name is going to ring more bells than yours ever will. Okay, so status becomes a critical part of this. And status in when you don't have the funds, when there's a big income disparity. But now we have Cardi B. Is it status? Because it can't just be money. What's the pull? What's the allure? You know, maybe we looking back and say, well, this is maybe has something to more do with how you were raised, where you came up from. This is the type of man that looks like attractive on all fronts. And if it doesn't really matter about the baby, I can have a baby with whomever. Why not with him? You can be more calculating when you have the resources behind you. But for the rest of us stuck on the trenches, stuck on the ground, us earthbound heroes fighting or street level heroes, while you guys fight, you know, Thanos and other, you know, you have to deal with the Watchers and people off planet. We're on the ground thinking that doesn't make any sense. If you could choose, why would you choose someone and be in the lineup number 6? Why would you go from someone from Offset to someone that is doing the very same things? Maybe it's more open. So what is it here? It's not money. Is it status? You've had the rapper, you've had that. Now you've got the ball player. Now, again, remember we said it's something where we're sort of curious about how this works, how this happens, how you get here to this place like this. Because for us, again, down in the trenches, we don't really understand. We don't have these same opportunities to have these same questions. Not to say that Pookie and Ray Ray are not having multiple baby mamas. It was happening on this level as well. Outside of the money, outside of the hyper perceived status. Because depending where you are, being a Pookie can be, high status.
How many kids you got, bro?
Yeah, I got 16 kids.
Never. God damn. No. All right.
Bro, seriously. No plan, no games. Good.
Yeah, God in heaven.
Yeah, I got 16.
You got 16 kids.
Yeah.
How the hell you get 16 kids, homie?
Oh, man. That nigga said, how many BMs? I got 15 BMs.
Never.
Yeah.
You got 15 BMs?
Mm-hmm. I got a set of twins.
All right.
That's what man. Yeah, I came back out of the driveway.
How old is your oldest?
24.
Oh, okay. 24.
24.
Damn, 24? So you had a kid when you was 15, 16?
16.
How old is the youngest?
1.
Oh my God. You a cold nigga.
I'm from Long Beach.
I don't know what that means. Are y'all still?
What that mean? what is that? What does that mean? Listen, we can't excuse this when we see this. This ain't the way. This ain't the way you should be moving. This isn't a way that's going to be conducive to, you know, those families, those women, those children. Because even if it's not a resource thing, the resource is taken care of. You've got it. You've got the ability to do this. You don't have the ability to split yourself enough to be in this household, this household, this household, this household. The reason we want to highlight this video, use this video, is because how much we've normalized it in our community. We've made it seem like this is what's supposed to happen. When we eliminated shame, because one, we don't have institutions, we don't have communities that can leverage that shame in proper amounts, then as men, we've been shamed to death already, to the point where it's becoming numb. So if he has multiple kids with multiple women, all that's left is think about, wow, he's really good with women. It's not to stop and look and say, is there something fundamentally amiss here? Is there something fundamentally wrong with him that this is an okay behavior? And then in that lineup of 15 women, is there something wrong there as well? Now, this is a live stream where we don't have the answer. I'm not sure. We can just speculate. And some of these conversations are really not for me to lead. Okay? These are going to have to come from you know, the fairer sex to let us know how this makes sense. How we arrived at these conclusions where we are, in a way where we can stop and set aside being offended if things hit a little too close to home. But men don't understand how, even if someone is rich, why would you want to be number 15 or 16 or 6 to a man that has dedicated it or has shown track record that you will never be anything more than just the latest number, because the history is there. When you have men not of comparable status, we can say that, or means, but would never put you in that scenario and situation. Then, of course, on the other side of it is the full and well understanding that when you engage in that behavior, when you become that, when you end up being baby mama number something in a guy's lineup, it changes something when we look at you, when we meet you. When you expect us to treat you completely fairly, completely regular, degular, we have an issue with that. Because we look and say, no sane person would want to just jump themselves in that lineup. But this may be a thing where men are moving and operating and asking questions in ways that are more conducive to how men move and groove and operate and ask questions. So if you are in the chat, if you do want to create a show where we can go and talk about this, and we create a little panel where we can have the female perspective on this, I would love to create something like that. You can reach out to me. My contact information, my email is in the description. And of course, if you know me in real life, you already know probably how to get in contact with me. And if I actually pick up, it means something to me. But again, for those of you that are new here, like the stream, right? Like the stream, share it, double tap the screen, and of course, subscribe to the channel. That's one of the best things you can support. Of course, any monetary donation you feel, super chats, all that, it's all gravy, it's all good. Most of you, I'll see you on the next one. Sometimes you hear a